Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host, and joining us this week are our go-to podcast compadres, Mr. Levi Fletcher.
Hey, guys.
And our other go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever.
Heidi-ho, neighborinos.
Shut up, Flanders. How are you doing, Joe? You're back with us. You came back. You were on your honeymoon.
I came back. I'm here. I survived.
Colorado was beautiful.
Colorado was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Even without the snow.
Yeah, it snowed just after we left, believe it or not.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? That's what people say.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. You know what really grinds my gears, Jimmy?
It's already starting. It's already happening. Anyway, we like to talk about movies, games, and TV shows here on this podcast. We talk about that, all this stuff over, here on Critical Reviews. But let's just get right into it. We have a bunch of stuff from both Marvel and DC this week. I know, so much. Let's start off with an image because I love to dissect these things. We talked about Hellboy last week and Mysterio from the new Spider-Man film that's coming up. Now we have a full picture of Batwoman coming to the CW. Ruby Rose, if anyone's familiar with her, I'm trying to think of what she's most well known for. You guys might be able to help me out on this. I know her from the most recent Triple X. Return of Xander Cage. She shot
What's the Megalodon movie she was just in?
Oh, Meg, the Meg. Okay, yes, thank you, Joe. There's something else that she's in.
Starring Meg from Family Guy.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Shut up, Meg.
Yeah. I liked her in Triple X though. I mean, there wasn't a lot that she got to do, but she did get to shoot some poachers, which I was a big fan of. But anyway, we get a look of her at her here. Very kind of, and I know this is how Batwoman does look. It reminds me of Batman Beyond a little because it's black and red and all that. I wanted your guys' opinions, though, about this look. Levi, I know you're looking at it right now, or you did recently, and you weren't necessarily blown away.
It looks like they took everything I loved about Batman Beyond and sucked all the soul out of it and gave it to CW to shit all over my childhood dreams.
Well, that's not. I think that's how Batwoman just looks. I don't think they took it from Batman Beyond.
I feel like they took everything I loved about Batman Beyond, sucked the soul out of it, and shit on it, and shit on my childhood dreams. And no, I'm not ecstatic at all. I don't care if she's bisexual. Was it? I don't care.
Well,
But
do you think you said it kind of doesn't look super, and I said it's a TV budget, even though they have worked pretty well with some of the stuff on the show, and we haven't seen it in action yet, so it's kind of hard to tell what it'll look like when she's standing and talking to someone per se. But this looks kind of par for the course comparatively to maybe the Flash. His outfit's a little bit nicer, but I don't know. It seems like it belongs in that universe, right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
You're right.
Sure.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll say, Joe,
I'm just super against the promotion for this character right now. I just really do not think that they need to be bringing up any sexual orientation at all and try to use that as a marketing ploy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're using the fact that it's a female heroine as a stuff.
She's bisexual. That's what they're marketing.
I think she's lesbian. I think it's the big. I think that's the thing about her. It's I think it's a combo of saying she's that, but she's also, and we shouldn't take away from this, but she is from the Bat family, or she's associated with Batman, and we haven't really had that yet in the CW. We have hints and stuff. We've never actually had Batman really show up. So I think that's the double marketing. I think Ruby Rose, I was reading here, she actually left Twitter because of all the fan backlash because they were making this character in the first place. And I get, Levi, where you're coming from, where it is annoying that is the one thing people are taking away from this. Whereas for me, it's oh, cool, a Batman-esque or, in that family character is finally coming to TV because they are not doing it well. They're not doing it justice. Gotcha. And so they're just doing it this way. I don't know.
She needs to be Batwoman first, and then Batwoman is lesbian. It doesn't need to be, this is the first lesbian. No, don't market it that way. I'm not speaking for my people, but it doesn't need to be marketed.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. And I know that I will say from being a fan of Legends of Tomorrow, and I've seen Supergirl a little bit into season 2. I kind of fell off it because I just kind of got bored of the show, honestly. But they do have bisexual, lesbian characters, gay characters on these shows. And it's never been something that's they don't really tout that. For instance, on Legends of Tomorrow, their leader, whose name I can't, Sarah Lance, I think, who's the White Canary. She happens to be bisexual, but that just means on the show, as far as a plot, she doesn't really like she kind of romances everybody. She's like a video game character. She's just like, hey, you're pretty hot. Like, and she'll be like, hey, you're pretty hot, and everybody's like, yeah, you're pretty hot too. Like, she's no matter where she goes, you know, it's just like she can do whatever.
Sometimes I feel like that was overdone though. I remember seeing the first few episodes early on, and I haven't watched it since, but it was kind of like, I feel like when they do characters like that, sometimes it's not as natural. Like they try and force it or pigeonhole it in certain areas, and it's just like, here, I'm sure, like, I just like that didn't seem to form naturally. They just threw it on the screen and said, there you go.
Yeah, I know Supergirl season 2, her sister, her adopted sister, that was a really like a bigger emphasis on that, her having a relationship. And I remember thinking, oh, I guess I just didn't know about this so much in the first season or didn't care to remember it. And I was like, yeah, it was more like her and Jimmy Olsen, and then that never worked out, like Supergirl. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's just like the romance department in those shows, not the best. But from a design aspect, Joe, I know you love to kind of pick apart this stuff. What do you think about Batwoman? How do you feel?
Oh gosh, I gotta pull it up again. I just looked at it briefly. I thought it was okay. It's a lot of hair.
Yeah, it is a lot of hair, but I think that's very on purpose. She's very comic accurate from what I've seen, which I think a lot of people can appreciate, even if you don't know her super well. You can be like, oh, cool, that like looks, you know, translated pretty well from the page to the screen here.
I think it's fine. I think something that's weird is that from the knees up, or from the top of the boots up to, how do you want to say this? Halfway.
Her belt?
At the midsection of the breastises is.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
Is that the PC way to say it?
There's no good way to say it. There's no good way to say it.
Anywho, yeah, all the fabric and what it's made out of from there to the midsection there is, it seems like it's just lacking a little something, especially for a Batwoman outfit. If you're going to compare it to Batman in any way, like I want to see just a little bit more dimensional quality to it, maybe a little bit more rigidity throughout the abdominals.
And maybe that's the point, is it's supposed to be very flexible and that she can move around in it because she's not going to be tanking bullets and she's not going to have like any armor on this, because it looks like there are small places where there is armor, but the rest of it seems like, you're right, like it's kind of like a mesh. Like it's not really protective. Like a knife isn't going to get stopped by this unless it's like super duper fancy, you know, Kevlar that's really bendable and very stretchy. Or that might be the case. I'm not familiar with the character as far as like what she has as far as her suit is consistent of. But the question is, can she glide with the cape? Because that cape doesn't look very big, and I don't know if you're gliding with that thing.
Am I right? It doesn't look like it's going to get that rigidity or whatever they talk about. Where'd they tote that in one of the Batman features? Something about the cape goes. It is.
Remember, I think it was Batman Begins where he takes like the electrical pulse and he puts it through, and it was like,
yeah, and it goes like rigid as like a glider.
Yeah, it's cool.
But there's something weird about the pelvic region too, the way it fits, and then the boots.
Yeah, I noticed that.
The boots seem kind of lazy. Like the boots look like they're something that she wore to a Metallica concert. You know,
I was just at a Metallica concert, and I would have loved to wear those boots to the Metallica concert personally. Well, and I don't know if she made all of this too, because like when you look at Batman, typically he's like working with Alfred and Lucius Fox and kind of doing it together. I don't know if she just made it herself. But then again, you look at Spider-Man and he like made his outfit. I'm like, how did you do that? Yeah, that's why Tom Holland, they just give him one. They're like, here's the good one. I think it's interesting. I just hope it's a good show. Obviously we can't base it off one image on that, but I'm interested to see how she integrates into the craziness of the Arrowverse or whatever, because like that universe is just wild. Like it is just nutso. Like Legends of Tomorrow, Levi and I were talking about it beforehand. That show, I love it. It's probably my favorite show on there, but because it's just dumb, it's really stupid and it's just like all over the place. So
the mask is well done.
Yeah, I think it looks really good.
A lot of hair.
That's
pretty good on her, whatever. But man, a lot of hair.
My real question is, when she's not wearing the outfit, is her hair still like that long and that red? Because now you have no excuse. Like the Clark Kent glasses thing is bad enough, but you're like, all right, there's only one woman in this entire town who's got long red hair, but she couldn't possibly be Batwoman. It's just like
here's my guess is that she's gonna look like Ruby Rose under the outfit, but when she puts the outfit on, the hair is part of the mask.
I was gonna say maybe it is. Yeah. Yep.
And that is the disguise, because they're like, we need to find some woman with scarlet red hair and beautiful lips.
And Ruby Rose is like, I have short black hair. Could not possibly be me. And they're like, there's no way it could be her. Clearly not. You might be right. And again, see, that's just my ignorance for the character, because that might be like well known by Batwoman fans, where they're like, these are idiots. They should know that it's a wig. And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to touch on that for a second. Interesting kind of conversation, and I'm sure that this character will definitely make some waves, regardless of how you feel about her in the Arrowverse. If you're a fan of that sort of thing, which I personally am, so I'll definitely check it out. I'll give it a shot. Next thing I want to talk about here for just a moment, they released a pretty lengthy Aquaman trailer, about 5 minutes and 40 seconds long, which is pretty long for a movie that's going to come out in a little over 2 months.
Right around Christmas?
2 months? Yeah. Okay, December 21st. That movie's coming out. Bumblebee's coming out. There's like 2 other things that are coming out. And what was it? That Alita Battle Angel got pushed to like February because they were going to be on that date. And then X-Men Joe got pushed from that date in February to June 7th or something. I was like, hey, man, you play fast and loose at the Marvel. Like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near any of those movies. I'd be like, get as far away from Spider-Man and Avengers as possible. But anyway, Aquaman extended trailer. Levi, you watched it right before we started, and you had some words, and I'm not going to say them for you, so please.
I can only guess.
Trash. Yeah. I think we talked about this I made a funny little joke a couple podcasts ago about, like, what did I say? You couldn't fit, like, all the trash in the ocean. Like, I don't know.
Were we talking about Trash Island out in the Pacific?
No, we're not talking about that sad, horrible.
What did I say? It was like, I don't know, something about like all the trash in the ocean wouldn't be as trashy as like this movie. If I go into this movie, it's going to be like extremely low expectations because I already have them.
What was it about this that made you like lower them even further if they did? The writing was already cringy in that small trailer. Sure. And having to sit through 5 minutes of it, it's even worse.
Sure. Should have peed on it.
Yeah, they're making jokes that the DC universe is connected by pee jokes because Joe, I don't know if you saw all this this long trailer, but basically at one point
I did.
Okay, so yeah, you know the part we're talking about here. And you know, tying that back in a weird way to Batman vs Superman, where someone peed in a jar and it's like Granny's sweet tea or whatever, and then that room blows. It's like, why do they keep making pee jokes in the DC universe? Yeah. Anyway, Levi, please continue.
The writing is just really bad. I do really like, you know, what's his name? I can't think
Jason
of it.
Momoa.
Jason Momoa. I do really like him. He did a really good job at Game of Thrones, but I'm not excited for this film.
How about like
it's already colorful? Bloated? Yeah, it's beep. It's yeah, it's colorfully bloated.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot going on when there really doesn't need to be. There's like 5 different wars in the ocean going on.
It seems like there's a lot, yeah.
And how many times am I gonna like have to see a robot frogman run through walls?
Yeah.
Of like
that was
like,
about 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, that was 2 minutes worth. Like, no, like.
Did you guys ever see that trailer for Valerian? That like the City of a Thousand Planets, is that one tracking shot of the guy. He's like running through multiple things. He's like going through a bunch of walls. All I could think about when I watched, I was like, oh, so they got this from that Valerian.
Is that with Dovahn or whatever his name is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I do like him too. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
That's okay.
The dude from Chronicle. So no, this honestly, brass tacks. This movie looks really pieced together. A CGI fest, and it looks terrible. The CGI looks like garbage. You had a really good. Oh, sorry, what?
You got Black Manta, the guy with the big red eyes. He looks pretty good, right?
Stop! No. Like, he's running through walls too for 2 minutes.
Everybody's running through walls.
You had a really good opportunity to make something very, very cool out of this character that usually people don't care about. I've never really heard a lot of people be like, Aquaman. And now you won't. You won't.
Okay. No, so you're against this. Joe, how about you watching this now, this pretty extended cut? Do you feel any... Oh,
before Joe goes, I really don't like it when the Titans, like, smash together. That looks really bad.
Oh, like the crocodile biting the...
No, the tridents. Like when they...
the tridents. Oh, yes. Yeah, where it's like...
I feel like you and I could have gone out to your backyard and, like, taken 2 tridents and smashed them together and probably made better sparks than that made. And sorry, you go, Joe, because I will just keep ranting.
That's great. Joe, how are you feeling about this trailer now? I love it.
Don't worry, Levi. I'll put the cherry on top of this one for you. I honestly felt like I was watching Power Rangers back when I was 10.
Joe, you too?
Yeah, me too, dude. It's losing me. I'm starting to feel like, are they trying... Like, for a second there, I thought DC was, like, all about, we're going to attract, like, the 20-something-year-olds, the teenagers, you know, and now I'm, like, I'm watching, I'm like, Black Manta, well done, but for some reason, all I can think of is, like, the Power Rangers just have the monster morph in, and they got to fight him.
Sure.
And Jason Momoa, I like the guy, but his acting kind of only boosts that feeling.
Sure.
Like, oh, that was awesome. You know, I mean, I get it. It's his character and all that, but it just kind of only reinforces that feeling for me, which I don't necessarily like. And then it's overdone. What really makes it feel kind of kiddish and lame is how... Like, I can stand the pee joke. That's fine. But, like, when they go to these underwater scenes and I'm seeing, like, sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads and like, all these underwater sea creature monsters. But the fact of the matter is I've seen Discovery Channel. I know what a shark looks like, and that is not a shark. You know what I mean? So right there and then it's ruined for me, and I hate to say it, but I will not be seeing this movie in theaters, I don't think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I will probably only see this movie because Jimmy pays me to see this.
I was like, can I pay you both to see it, please? Because I would love to have like a really long, like 2-hour podcast where it's like the two of you just being like, and then we get to this scene and it's even worse because Aquaman did this, and I'd be like, go on.
You know what? And I like this character. I do. I liked this character in Justice League.
Yeah.
Same here.
I did, and he might be the only redeeming quality. Just him, but like his writing is atrocious. It's super bad.
Yeah, we still haven't seen Willem Dafoe yet, and he's in there. My boy Goblin, he's in there somewhere. We just haven't seen him.
What's he doing?
He's the guy who trains him on the beach with the trident. Yeah, I don't. It's weird. I guess. Last question I have for you boys before I kind of speak my piece: the old school suit, yay or nay?
Yes, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? I just need to rip a few more shreds. Why is Edward Cullen's dad the villain? Why? No, I'm serious.
I don't think it's the same actor.
It looks... Well, why? But it looks...
They're like, we're going to get Carlisle in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
like half Twilight, half Power Rangers. Epic.
It sounds like it's going to be epic, all right? My two favorite movies together. It's like...
I did like the beginning of the... Oh, go ahead.
No, I just had a bad joke.
I was gonna say, I did like the beginning where she like pulled the bead of sweat off of his head and like she was doing her little thing, and she seems fine.
Yeah.
She might be okay. Like her hair is outrageously too red. Like it doesn't look good at all.
That's a DC thing.
If you want some nice red hair, look at the lead singer from Paramore. God damn it.
Oh, anyway. There you
go. And no, and. No.
Okay, I will say this for the trailer. At least their action scenes weren't set in like dust and smoke like all the other DC action scenes. It's like set in the middle of the day. You could see what was happening, which I appreciated. They had some interesting tracking shots. I was like, oh, okay, at least we know what's going on, as opposed to being like smoke and fire at nighttime. And it's like, I don't know what's happening.
It's not Transformers where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I appreciated that aspect of it. It's so bright and colorful, which is nice for the DC as a shakeup, because honestly, they haven't really had too much of that. Justice League has it a bit, but not. This is like oversaturation. So maybe that's one of the problems we're having, like, because it's such a big change. Maybe, I don't know. Dark and gritty Aquaman would be hard to do.
I'm going to challenge you there. I appreciate the different tone. Don't get me wrong, but what a waste of your usage if you're going to make like these really vapid, like, yeah, they're colorful, but it's like an ocean full of like these huge battles that don't make sense, that don't look cool. Like,
yeah,
you're pushing your technology. That's great. Atlantis is, they've beefed up their technology. Cool. Produce something cool out of it,
Yeah, well, I'm still interested to see the whole like horror aspect, because they kind of show that there's that part where it's like, stormy seas and there's a bunch of those creepy monsters going after them, like where they're going with the flare and they're going down. It's like, that could be cool. Also, if it's like this really big event that's going on underwater and Orm is going to like take over the land, like maybe Aquaman should call in, I don't know, any of the Justice League. Like, that's the problem when they make these standalone ones so big by themselves. You're like, but you just teamed up with these guys, and you're like, I'm going back home, it'll be fine. And it's like, that we could all die, man. Like,
God, he's super powerful. It's going bad.
Call Superman, for God's sake. Like, don't just. I know Henry's kind of on the fence. He might be in Shazam, but like, bring Superman and just be like, Supes can probably breathe underwater. Like, I mean, he can move so fast, it don't even matter. That fight is done. Like, just you're like,
if he doesn't get on his phone and try to call Superman, and then there's like some joke about, oh, he's shaving a mustache. Like,
oh my God, that would make it a 10 out of 10 for me. I'd be like, well, the movie's poking fun at its own studio. Yeah. So it seems like this trailer turned you guys off to it, which is like the exact opposite of what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be like, here's a pretty big helping. Don't you want more? And it's like, okay.
Who directed this? A 5-year-old?
Well, James Wan, and he's done some horror movies, and he also did one of the Fast and Furious films, and it was actually a pretty good one, if I remember correctly. And he's a pretty competent director, but I don't know. We'll see.
From what I hear, too, it's just when I look at all those sea creatures, number one, when I look at the great white shark with freaking laser beams on its head and a saddle, what?
But that's just like maybe your problem with like reality versus like the fictional world of Atlantis. Like, it's different.
Yeah, but when there's a real human that's supposed to be standing next to it, that shark ain't real, man. That shark ain't real.
None of it's real.
I know. I get that. But
I was like, what you need is a big steel beam, and you duct tape it to the top of that shark, and you use it to ram things. Just like, then we got something there.
Like, you're telling me they couldn't, like, chum the waters and bait in some real great white sharks?
Yeah, huh? I mean, come on, guys, you should do that. And I don't like the alligator and stuff. We'll have to see how those really look, because I feel like we've seen some shots, but I like that sort of thing because I love like high fantasy, and that's what this is. The problem is you put it in a universe that has been up until this point not very high fantasy. It's tried to be grounded, kind of, but now this is like, nope, you're in the world of Avatar now. Good luck.
Yeah, maybe that's what's doing it for me. I just
It's kind of like, Joe, we're going from like Jurassic Park to Pandora in Avatar. And it was just like, yep, this is year 2. So it's like you go from like a grounded, kind of realistic situation. And then it's just like, oh, look at these lasers.
What's that movie, Lion, Witch in the Wardrobe? Or what's the one with the big Lion King in the Narnia?
Yeah, the Chronicles of Narnia. I was talking about that today.
Knew that. I knew it. Never seen it. All I know is that from what I had seen of it, the animals are weird looking.
Some of them are, but some of them are regular, and I think you'd appreciate that movie. It's got a weird groundedness to it, despite how weird and nuts it is.
Yeah. I don't know. The sharks ain't real.
Okay, sharks ain't real. So Joe's out, Levi's out. I think I'm going to, well, Joe, I don't know how you feel about it. I'll probably drag Levi along.
I'll say this, Jimmy. I like that you found some redeeming qualities in it, and I do agree with you. But there's just, I don't know, man. It's Power Rangers amped up.
If I pay you to see it, will you go see it?
$1,000.
Oh my god.
And I want a contract stating that DC will be destroyed.
No, I can't do that. We want to have him there.
Just kidding. Aquaman's going to do it all itself, ladies and gentlemen.
Do we think, just kind of side bet here, do we think Bumblebee's going to outperform Aquaman?
Yes, because Bumblebee actually looks good.
Joe, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think Transformers is dead.
Yeah, I think Bumblebee looks good. I think there's just been too many Transformers, and I was so pissed at that last one. I was like, this is such a waste of time.
I agree, but I think this feels fresh, though. This feels a little cool.
Best part about Transformers is the cars, man, and this one's what, old?
Just like they're going to the 80s. Whatever, nobody likes the 80s.
Cars in the 80s.
No, yeah. There'll be more Transformers coming in.
We'll see a gosh darn Mustang in there, I'm walking out.
I think they're rebooting that whole franchise anyway, regardless of how this does. We'll see, though. Let's move on, though. But I still really would love to have both of you boys go and see it. We'll see if that happens. It's around Christmas. It's like 4 days before Christmas, so we'll see what's going on. Anywho, let's talk about something a little bit different here. Switching over to the Marvel side of things, we got a new Daredevil trailer. Now, this is the second, I think, trailer, not including the teaser that came out for season 3, which I don't like to get into if it's like sequel, blah, blah, blah. But there's two really cool things in this trailer. Not only is my boy back, the old Kingpin. Oh my goodness, the big baby and the big white tux and whatever, white suit.
Yeah, did you know he visited Jurassic World back in the day?
Oh yeah, really? He did, huh?
Yeah, he tried to like weaponize velociraptors like an idiot.
He got out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he lost an arm.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for him. I thought you were trying to make some sort of John Hammond parallel. Like, I was like, because he's wearing white. So it's like, you're sick. Yeah.
No.
But I like
it's funny, though, if you think about it. Those two characters, him in Jurassic World is like that just everybody hates him, military guy, you know, hoisting his pants up, tucking his shirt in, like, and then here he is, like the coolest freaking villain you've ever seen.
It drives me nuts because all I can think about with the Jurassic World guys, like those guys are gonna run into the enemy with like their teeth and eat them, belt buckle and all. It's like they're all gonna die, dude. They're just dinosaurs. Like, anyway, he's back. I like that there's some through line where he's talking about like, you know, he's using his influence to basically turn the city against Daredevil, and he's saying like, the last time we talked, you threatened me, and that's unforgivable, and kind of framing Daredevil. And this is kind of, I think it's happened before.
Well, he plays Daredevil's hate against him into his own hand, and basically, makes Daredevil, sets him up to look like the bad guy, and make himself look better.
Exactly, and I love it. And we also have the reveal of one of our newest Marvel villains, one that we've seen in the past, played by Colin Farrell, I believe. But that actually, spoiler alert, is Bullseye dressed up as Daredevil, doing all that stuff. That's why Daredevil is in the old black, kind of just like the regular stuff. And it seems like they made a copy or stole Daredevil's outfit. And Bullseye has been carrying out jobs.
Who is Bullseye, though?
Bullseye, Joe, he is a super villain, more or less. He's a villain, but a big thing is that he can, kind of like Hawkeye, and he's actually taken over the role of Hawkeye, I believe, in the past, in like the Dark Avengers. He can like hit anything with anything else. He's like pinpoint accuracy, so that's his whole shtick. And Daredevil is like one of the few people who could like dodge his ability. Like, it's like, oh, I missed you, like I hate you, Daredevil. So he's like Hawkeye in that he can just like, he can really land his marks. So that's why he's doing those little canes and staffs, and you kind of see him use a gun at one point, and you're like, oh, Daredevil wouldn't do that. But I think it's pretty cool. I like kind of saying like, hey, I hired this mercenary with this cool ability to basically take over Daredevil's persona and make everybody hate him and just be like, Daredevil's doing bad things. Clearly, can't you see? Look he's a bad guy. I love it. I love Kingpin using his influence like that. Levi, I know we talked beforehand about this, and you said that you like Daredevil. Are you excited more so now after seeing this trailer?
Yes. I haven't seen the other 2 seasons, and I've been a little leery of Marvel TV shows.
As you should be.
Yeah. But I did like, I think I said this before, I liked Luke Cage, that trailer. I think I mentioned that to you, so that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you were like, "No, I'm done." And I was like,
"Okay." I was like, "I'm checking out." Sorry.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, I want to see like a montage of like Bring Me to Life and like, you know, him in Electra training, and then I'll be happy.
Perfect. You just want that first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe, I know you kind of mentioned it beforehand too, and kind of it sounds like you're excited because we've, I think, agreed that Daredevil, out of pretty much all the stuff we've seen, has been our favorite as far as the, you know, the Netflix TV offerings have gone. Now seeing this, like, is this like, I know for me, it's kind of realizing my dream of the Kingpin, but for you, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, Fisk's involvement again is kind of enticing, but overall, I'm not going back for it.
Oh, really? Look at this guy.
Because in all honesty, I just get a little bored with the always beating up another 10,
Sure,
some
in a
more
hallway.
cannon fodder in the hallway. Oh, he's all bruised up and battered and beaten, and he's looking out a window or over a rooftop, even though he can't see. What's he looking at?
He's listening. He's listening.
I mean, maybe I will go back and watch it just for blind jokes. Going to hell. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It doesn't grab me as well as I want it to. You know.
Yeah.
I
appreciate it.
But yeah, I can appreciate it in certain ways too. But
I mean, like, I appreciate your take, and I told Levi they should just make the Defenders the only show they do. Put all of them together all the time. Why do we even have them do separate things anymore? They're all like in Hell's Kitchen in Harlem. It's like all right there. Like, why
have them meld together more often? You know, like this episode, you don't see that one, but you know, the next couple episodes, you might see that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be better and more successful and create more of a draw than just having them alone. And I'm sorry to say, but like Luke Cage sucked, I thought. I kind of like the villain in that one too. I think they've done a decent job with the villains like Fisk and I forget the guy's name from Luke Cage, but you know, Luke Cage is a more enticing hero. I think the fact that he actually has like superpowers kind of amps it just a little bit, but still they fall flat. Him, Daredevil, Jessica, all of them. You know, the only reason anyone watched Jessica Jones is because she's, you know, doing it all the time. Like every other episode, you get to see some crazy hot sex scene.
Can either not confirm or deny that in season 2. I fell off like 2 episodes. I was like,
exactly. I didn't even watch season 2. So, yeah, and you're absolutely right. Meld them together, you know, and create a draw that way. I think that's the only way to do these successfully. But I don't know. Apparently, there's some super fans out there that are rewatching it over and over and over and over.
Yeah, well, it seems like season 3 is the closest we're gonna get to that Ben Affleck like movie where it's like Bullseye and Kingpin against Daredevil. But I think this will be way better. And I think someone tweeted D'Onofrio a little while ago saying like, "Hey, you know, it'd be cool to see your Kingpin go up against Tom Holland's Spider-Man, even though that will never happen." And he said, "Never say never." And it's like, if you could take one thing from the Marvel TV stuff and bring it to like the actual movies, I honestly think Kingpin would be great, especially against a young, unseasoned Spider-Man. Like just him picking up little old Tom Holland, who's also like, "Hey, Mister, let me down." And just, you know, oh man,
I agree.
It'd be great. I would love it. Let's talk about one more thing that's kind of Marvel / DC. It's a combo. So apparently, people have been courting James Gunn, and specifically Warner Brothers wants James Gunn to not only write but potentially direct Suicide Squad 2. And I gotta be honest, boys. Oh yeah, that one made it made enough money to get that sequel lit, or greenlit. I am not surprised.
Did they look at their own? Did they look at the reviews? Like,
I don't think they cared. They're like, it's okay if we get Will Smith on a contract. I looked at this video somebody commented on I did a while ago that you guys should check out if you want to, but it was a comparison between Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad. And there's so many comparisons you can make, and I think James Gunn would be an excellent choice to like say, hey, you know, this first movie sucked, but you know how to deal with a weird ragtag crew of idiots and insane people working together to fight for the common good. I think he's perfect. But like, I really can't see why. It's a good for like WB to be like, hey, you know what? If Marvel doesn't want him, Disney doesn't want him, we'll take him. We'll take him over here. We're edgy or whatever. Come on. We don't care about some tweets. Like Levi, how do you feel about this?
I Are you going to give Jared Leto like maybe more than 5 minutes to
well,
do
he's
his
getting
thing?
his own movie, maybe. I don't even know anymore. I'm like,
I actually didn't. I'm a big fan of Jared Leto. I've been following 30 Seconds to Mars since 2005, and I like him as an actor. And I thought he brought something unique and different to the Joker, and it was a shame that they cut it all out.
sure, but I mean, like for this, like James Gunn directing a sequel to Suicide Squad, would you like to see that?
Yeah, if Joker gets a little bit more time.
Okay.
I don't care about like anybody but Will Smith's character was cool. I didn't really care for any of their characters really.
Sure.
Especially the alligator. I thought the alligator was the dumbest part.
Croc was really boring.
Croc, yeah.
I think Margot Robbie being Harley Quinn was okay, and I think she's getting Birds of Prey, so I don't know if she's still going to be part of the Suicide Squad. It sounds like, too, that the director of who did, I think it was like The Raid or The Raid 2, who was working on the Deathstroke movie, said he hasn't heard from DC and WB for a long time, so there's a chance Deathstroke could maybe be in Suicide Squad. Maybe it's a pipe dream. I don't know. Joe, what do you think? James Gunn directing Suicide Squad 2, yay or nay?
Yeah, I mean, if Disney's certainly done with them.
Yeah, they're like done, like finished, finito. Like it sounds like they are just not backing down on that. Which, you know what? I get people are angry about it, but Disney is all about their perception. All right. First and foremost, you have to understand that as a business, they are run on perception. And I think it was one of those things they knew about beforehand, couldn't deal with it, and were like, we can't go back on this. Because if they go back on this, then they look like they're weak. So I think WB coming in, and there's rumors like Taika Waititi, who did Thor Ragnarok, would direct the next Guardians because he'd be a good fit for it. I don't care because I don't really like his directing style or really the Guardians too much anyway. Yeah,
we should cut that one out of the MCU and throw it away.
Which one?
People love Thor Ragnarok, Joe. Don't you love Thor Ragnarok, Levi?
There's parts to it I like, yeah. For sure.
I realize why I don't like it. It's because it's a sci-fi movie and it's not like a medieval high fantasy movie. That was my problem with it. Because like the Thor movies weren't great, but it was always like, oh, it's kind of like fantasy. This one was like a sci-fi 80s trip, and I was like,
yeah. What
I mean, I really liked
80s thing.
There was a lot of cool stuff. I really liked Fenrir, and I liked
Fenrir's sick, man. So good.
Kate Blanchett, she's just a beast and
underutilized. Oh man,
super underutilized. We better see that villain again because she kicked it.
Ocean's 8 also underutilized. Why does everyone underutilize Kate Blanchett? She was used perfectly as Galadriel, but like you need more of her. She's so good. Anyway, yeah, I just think it makes sense. It's a win for WB, and it also makes Suicide Squad 2 much more appealing, especially if they can work on the writing, which would be great. Because if I ever hear the words like this again, so what are we, some sort of Suicide Squad? No, that is not good. Like, they don't ever have, like, Cap being like, so what are we, like, some sort of Avengers or something? It's like...
Whenever they say the name of a movie in a movie, it's gonna be a bad movie.
Exactly. Like, the best version of that is at the end of Avengers where Iron Man, Tony Stark, is talking to Loki, and he's like, we might not be able to save it, but damn sure we'll avenge it. And I'm like, that's really good, because right there you're saying, like, you know what, we might lose, but we're going to come back and we're going to kill all of you. It's like, all right. Like, yeah, kills me. Anyway, I wanted to report on that just because I thought it was interesting, and it sounds like...
I think it'd be a fine move, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, right? It's just so smart for them to just be like, hey, come over here.
James Gunn's good. I think he's going to insert even more comedy into it.
And he can use some of, that's kind of what got him in trouble in the first place, but I think there were some things potentially on the cutting room floor as far as his comedy where it's like he could be even a little more edgy now. Like, he doesn't have to be as kiddie. Like, you know, I'm not saying Guardians is kiddie, but when they're making poop jokes all the time, it's like, now he doesn't have to do just that. He could be like, all right, take these characters, and you know, especially if Will Smith is there. I don't know if Will Smith is back, but I would love to see Will Smith work with James Gunn, because I think there could be some really fun dialogue there, because Will Smith is a talented guy, and it's like you're not using
Will Smith is like, whoa, I won't work with James Gunn. He's not PC enough for me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if anybody would walk out on that. Watch Dave Bautista go over there and be the new Killer Croc or something. They're just like, we just brought him over. Interesting. Anyway, well, there we go. That's the news from this week for the most part here. A lot of, like I said, DC and Marvel stuff always kind of coming at us here. But let's get into the main topic of this week. And if you are watching right now, you probably guess what it is. You know, there's a little guy over here, another little scene over here. I'm wearing the shirt. We're talking about Venom. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry. We'll flip the old spoiler switch here in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes after we kind of give some thoughts on it, spoiler free. But I do have a spoiler free review you can check out up here. As long as you've watched the trailers, I can't really spoil anything that like wasn't in them. I didn't do that. So anyway, I saw it with Levi. Levi, briefly, just tell me a few just like little tidbits of the story. Like what's going on in this movie, man?
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a different take on Eddie Brock. I think Tom Hardy brings a really good performance, and you want me to just like run down the plot?
Yeah, just the first little bit of it anyway.
Yep. Eddie Brock is a journalist, and he's a little bit edgy, maybe a little bit too edgy, and
Perfect.
yeah, and he gets himself into
all you need to know.
Yeah,
seriously,
he gets himself into all sorts of shenanigans, and it sounds like a Scooby-Doo episode. Like,
is he very twitchy and nervous all the time? Like, I don't know, but are you? How are you feeling?
No,
not like that, thankfully.
Okay. No, and there was a review I saw about like his voice being weird, and I didn't think it was weird at all. He played the part.
I put that in my review. But also, he does get infected with an alien symbiote.
I mean, that's a little part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little small part. So Levi and I saw this together last Thursday, I believe it was. And one thing I will say that this movie doesn't really show off in the trailers, they kind of allude to it sometimes. And Levi, I don't know if you'll agree with me. I think you will, though. Is that the jokes in the trailers don't feel like they play super well because you don't really know Venom. But once you see this movie, like the actual symbiote that he's bonded with, this alien creature, the jokes play pretty well. And there was one or two in particular that had the entire audience just like really laughing, like they really enjoyed it. Believe I do agree is like the comedy kind of like maybe the best part of this film.
Yeah, I think I was telling the kids about that tonight when I said maybe we should go see Venom again this weekend because they haven't seen it yet. It was funny, very entertaining, and we laughed the whole way through. And a lot of people are like, "Are you supposed to be laughing at it?" And we're like, "Who cares? It was good."
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a groundbreaking film by any means. It's short runtime. It's fast paced, but I thought it was really funny.
Would you recommend it to someone who isn't a huge superhero fan or supervillain fan or anti-hero fan?
Yeah, if you're looking for like a fun, little action-packed little flick, I'd go see it. It's not too bloated. It's pretty quick, and you'll be entertained. You won't be bored.
Somebody put it really well, and I kind of want to use it, but it does feel like a romantic comedy disguised as a crappy superhero film. So go into it expecting it to be more of like a weirdly kind of like a rom-com, and maybe you won't be as disappointed because the trailers try to make it look kind of edgy and horror-filled. Not really any of that. There's a few moments that can be kind of like weird or scary with just the symbiotes themselves, but besides that,
Venom in the trailer seemed odd and didn't feel very connected to the movie, but after watching the movie I felt like Venom really stood on his own as a symbiote, and like they actually shared like this power together. I don't think the trailers ever really did it justice because I was always really quite underwhelmed with the trailers, but so
Levi, out of 10, what would you personally give it?
This is gonna sound bad. I'd probably give it like a 6. Which sounds bad, but for what it is a pretty good review.
What's the bad thing about it? Because we talked about good things, but we haven't said like what, like, non-spoilery, like what is a bad aspect of this film?
I actually did not care too much about the short runtime. The movie started at
like 2 hours.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. So the movie started at 8:30, and I got home at 10 o'clock.
That's true. Really?
It was like 10.
It's an hour and 38 minutes long.
Yeah, I got home about like 10:15, 10:20. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, in the first, I will say this: people can criticize the pacing issues. The first 40 minutes until Venom really gets introduced is pretty boring, and unfortunately, the plot is very similar to any maybe Marvel film you've seen before. In that, like, it's usually like bad scientist, mean scientist becomes like super insane and has the same abilities as the main protagonist, and that's not really a spoiler because like you've seen it, like you. In the trailers, like that's just what it is.
Seriously? So the scientist is the one who becomes Riot and starts beating up.
You saw the trailer; they like rip each other apart.
Oh my god! But that's who it is.
Who did they show his face?
Him. Yeah, you better flip that spoiler switch because let's just dive into it.
We will, but like they see the face, Joe. Remember when they do that slow motion shot, like the panning shot of both of them? They're just kind of sitting there, like.
I never hit pause on that. I saw Eddie Brock. I didn't see the other guy.
What did you think it was? His girlfriend? Anyway, all right.
Who I liked, by the way.
But... Oh, his girlfriend? Yeah.
Marissa Tomei, she's so great.
Oh, wow. Michelle Williams, we're so sorry. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to do it. Who cares? I
want to, like, can you do, like the graphic of, like, the Venom symbiote, like, attacking you?
That would be great. I can only do the voice, which apparently they stole from me in the first place, because I swear to God, I've been doing that demon voice my whole life, and I swear it sounds just like Venom. I was just like, I really wanted to do that as part of my review, and be like, Venom here. Like,
if we're going to talk about a little, some detractors, just to get right off the bat, I mean, it does follow a lot of the same, like, Gen 1 or Phase 1 Marvel tropes, and that sucks.
Yeah.
The villain is underwhelming, and
really boring.
The fight scenes with the villain are very messy, and I actually liked much more just seeing Venom like romp around the city with Eddie and them just like getting into shenanigans. Like that was where I was at.
Yeah, I love it so much because you have Eddie like just talking, and then Venom will just be in his head, and he'll just kind of be like, he's like, Eddie, we should just eat his head.
That's almost funny. That worked. That worked really well for the film.
I really liked it. Or when there's one part like near the end where they're going to buy some food, and Eddie's like, hey, what are you hungry for? And he's like, there's tater tots earlier. I was like, tater tots.
And chocolate.
Yeah. I was like, it's so good because you go from this guy who's like eating all of these living things to being like, I'll just have some chocolate, man. Yeah, which is great. I think
I'm really pissed I haven't seen it.
The moment that I think you'll love the most, Joe, and I was watching it and I remember thinking, I think Joe would love this, and I loved it too. Is there's a moment where, and they show it in the trailers, where Eddie kind of walks around a corner. There's all these SWAT guys who like put a bunch of lasers on him, and he's like, you guys don't want to do this. And of course, one shoots off, like he turns into Venom. One shoots off a smoke canister. I think he tanks one in the face and then bites it. And then he's just like smoke all over him. Someone shoots another one, he grabs it and breaks it. Those might be in reverse order. But then he fights all these SWAT guys in this area where it's like all this smoke and they're just like shooting. They don't even know where to shoot. He's just coming down, just like throwing them to the side and stuff. Oh man, it's so cool. It's like that was better than the entirety of the Predator film. Like I was like, this is already better. I was like, yes. And then he stops himself from eating a police officer. He's like, we do not eat police officers, because he's about to bite off the head of a police officer. I was like, this is so good. Yeah, I love those. The scenes, I could just watch Eddie and Venom. Honestly, those two, Levi, like you said.
Every review I've heard is Eddie and Venom. Eddie and Venom.
Yeah.
The rest of it was
Yeah. I just love. There's one line in particular, Joe, I won't ruin for you, but that got the entire crowd laughing, and it was so good. It was like just one word. It was like, oh my god, this is really funny. I was
Can
like,
you allude to it? I don't remember.
When he tells him he should jump out of the building.
Oh yeah.
That part is so good. The whole crowd is just like, it's like this moment of silence, the joke, and everyone's just like,
that's why I didn't, rip this movie apart so much. Is like a lot of it worked. Strangely enough, a lot of it did work.
Yeah, like Venom for some odd reason starts learning a bunch of slang, which is kind of funny.
Eddie's transition. I feel like when they first started doing the ideas for this film, I feel like they probably like had some really bad test audiences feedback that were like, this is too serious and it doesn't need to be, because the trailers make it look super serious and it's like Eddie gets infected with this symbiote, and that's not how it happens at all.
Yeah,
people.
They capitalize on the Halloween vibe with the trailer.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
an
not like
October
that at
movie.
all.
It's gonna
There's
be...
a little bit of like that where Eddie's transitioning into Venom, and he's getting used to that, the process. But yeah.
Well, and the way he gets the symbiote in the first place is kind of scary. Like it's kind of a weird circumstance.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the movie is like played for jokes. And I think Tom Hardy himself said there's like 40 minutes of uncut footage that did get cut. And he was like, that was my favorite stuff. And I was like, I wonder if it's just him walking around playing Venom. Like, I just like, because to me, that's the best.
Buy that DVD, yeah, just to see that.
Oh, for sure. I'm just listening to him talk about stuff because there's a lot of allusion to the fact, or they allude to him like biting people's heads literally clean off, but you don't really see anything like that. They just kind of, they cut away or something happens. But, that stuff, they play it pretty well. And they play the fact that like Eddie gets in fights and he doesn't control himself really well. Like, I think Tom Hardy's performance, not only just as Eddie and Venom, but also physically is great because he'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He'll take someone out and he'll be like, "Ooh, shouldn't have fought me," kind of thing. Like, I appreciate that. I love the back and forth. I think Venom's really cool. Like, I think one of my favorite lines is he's like, he's so stupid, but he's like, "Eddie, he's got shit you've never even seen," or something like that. It's like, Venom, what are you even talking about, dude? Like,
I did like Riot. So Riot's got these cool weapons,
That's Carnage's bit, though. Like, what? We're already ruining Carnage. Like, his cool Riot's ability was like, I can make weapons out of my goop, but like Venom could kind of do that too, and there wasn't enough Venom, and this was $100 million budget film. And I kind of want to play a little game with you guys right after we finish up with kind of our last thoughts here.
100 million, wow.
It was $100 million budget for the film. Anyway, Levi, any last thoughts on this? Or Joe, do you have any questions, like specifically? I know you haven't seen it. I hope we haven't spoiled too much of it for you, because I still think you should see it because you're a big Venom fan. But do you want to know anything specifically?
Is there any like background of the history of the symbiotes on their planet? Does Venom talk about it?
A little bit, just a little bit, but there's not too much. They also allude to the fact in the beginning that one of the pilots that was in the shuttle that comes back is Jameson, which might be J. Jonah Jameson's son, who typically becomes like a werewolf after his time in space. But they do allude to some of it, and the description isn't super good. They don't really show anything, so you don't get a shot of his home planet or anything. Yeah.
Okay, so they never talk about Null or anything like that?
Yeah, they don't. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about how the scientists even captured them in the first place. There's apparently millions of other symbiotes out there on the planet, but they only captured like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. Riot, how does he get created?
He's
not Offspring, right? He's not Offspring?
Nope, he's not Offspring. He is just one of the test subjects that they're putting on other like homeless people, poverty-stricken people, and then it just happens to get on the bad guy at one point, and then they're just a perfect match. So it was like, there you go. They're done. Riot's there. He's Riot. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they do any splicing of the symbiotes with any of the security personnel from the company?
No,
they didn't.
Like splicing? How so?
There's no Mania. There's no what's the one, Screech or Scream or something?
Oh no,
like
they don't. Sorry, they don't really get into other symbiotes besides these 2 for the most part in this one.
Okay.
They do allude to another one at the end, but it's ridiculous and it doesn't.
I know it is. Yeah.
The wig and oh god, it was real bad.
Really,
yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was
Dude,
really bad.
The spoiler switch has been flipped. We know who it is. It's Carnage, right?
Yeah. So basically, at the end, he goes, and I was like, oh, excited because like there's more Venom talking to Eddie on a bike going to a prison. They go see Cletus Cassidy, who's sitting in a cell for some reason. He wants to talk to Eddie Brock. Really horrible red wig, and at the very end, the Cletus says to him, he's like, when I get out of here, there's going to be carnage. And it's like, boogity, boogity, boogity. I was like, this is the dumbest. Like, the problem is with Venom, the cool thing is that both he and Eddie hate Spider-Man. And they get their abilities, a lot of them, from Spider-Man. And they go to prison because of their stuff with Spider-Man. And they make carnage because of Spider-Man. How the hell do you put Eddie in prison now so that way he can make his offspring to give it to Cletus to be Carnage? I'm like,
Yeah, so the whole thing is, so Venom reproduces asexually. He leaves his offspring there in the cell, but doesn't realize that it means bad for him and Eddie, so he doesn't think it's important to tell Eddie. Next thing you know, Carnage is on the loose. Yada yada.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. The problem is they didn't lock him up at the end. It would have been different if he would have maybe attacked his girlfriend and her new boyfriend, which by the way, I will give him props for not making the boyfriend a jerk, because usually in these movies it's oh, my ex-girlfriend's dating some jerk. This guy was legitimately a nice doctor who just wanted to help Eddie. But yeah,
the lobster tank. Oh,
I love that scene, Joe. There's a really good scene where Eddie comes into a place after being kind of infected with the symbiote, and he's going into this really fancy restaurant, and he's just taking people's foods off their plates, and he finally gets into a lobster tank and sits all the way in a lobster tank, and he's grabbing lobsters and biting into them and stuff. Yeah, Tom Hardy
as Eddie.
As Eddie, as just he looks just like a street hooligan, or he just looks like a homeless guy who's just walking in just biting stuff. Yeah, he does a good job. Even though his accent at first is very, I'm a reporter, I find myself looking into things. It's oh god. Yeah, but anyway, Levi, is there anything else to mention about this film?
No, I think we touched on all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd recommend you see it only. I give it a, please go watch the review. That's how I can watch the review. But I would say if you are a Venom fan, I wouldn't say you should see this if you're a Spider-Man fan. There's very loose connective tissue between that and this. But if you like the character of Venom and you want to see him on the big screen, a big kind of scary, cool version, there are some brief glimpses where this is amazing. And I would love, love, love to see just him plucked out of this and put into the MCU. That's the only thing I would love. I would love to see Venom and Tom Hardy just brought in. Just even if you scrap this movie and just keep just that one thing, it's like Deadpool. Just be yep, bring him in. And yeah, I'm interested to see what they do, because it made some good money, which I wanted to talk about here in this little game because I thought it was interesting. So Venom, we said it had $100 million budget or so, made $80 million this past weekend, which is actually the best October box office there's ever been. The last one,
yes,
the last one to make that much. Well, the last box office opening weekend for October, the biggest one was $55.8 million. That was Gravity back in 2013. So pulling this information here from a very unknown website, no, it's IGN. They compiled a bunch of the numbers from previous Spider-Man films, and I thought this would kind of be fun to talk about. So comparatively, remember, 80 million for Venom. All right, now let's go back to the Sam Raimi trilogy, way back. So obviously this trilogy is going to make more, on their first weekends. But do you guys have a guess at which one made the most of the first three Spider-Man films?
Spider-Man 3.
Joe, you want to take a guess? You're muted, by the way. Which is good.
1.
You think 1? Actually, Levi is right there. It was Spider-Man 3 with 151 million, 0.1. And Spider-Man, the first one, was 114.8. And weirdly enough, Spider-Man 2 made 88.2 million, which is weird because that was considered the best. I think if you look at some of these, you see the middle one drops down, but a lot of people love that second one. And then the third one jumps up and people are oh my God.
Well, and that's just initial box office sales, right? That's not merchandise and home release and
this is just that. And then we get into my personal favorites, the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. How do you guys think it did?
What's that?
With that? Oh, it's just this little. They made some money.
There were 3 of those.
There's only 2 of them. So Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Which one? You know what? I'll tell you this. It did beat out one of the Amazing Spider-Man films in the first weekend.
Those are movies?
Yes. Do you want to
I thought that we were just completely ignoring those. Okay.
You want to take a guess?
I think 2 probably did pretty well.
Joe, do you think?
I think the first one did better than the second.
The first Amazing Spider-Man opened with 62 million, so already 18 million less than Venom. But then the sequel made 91.6.
Really?
The problem is like
because of Mary Jane. Yeah.
But then they say like the domestic tally for 2 was only 202.9 million. So like after that first weekend, it was like, it didn't. It died.
Spider-Man 3 had a lot of like marketing hype, and Spider-Man 2 had a lot of marketing hype too. They had a lot of stuff going for it, like Venom, like Topher Grace, like multiple, stuff.
Yep. I think you're definitely right.
I listened to a Topher Grace interview with Michael Rosenbaum actually, and for a split second they talk about that movie, and Topher was like, "Oh, you want me to play Eddie Brock, huh?" And he was kind of really surprised by it, but he was like, "You'd have to listen to it." But it was interesting to hear what he had to say. He's like, given the way they wanted to take the character, I thought it was okay, but I was still kind of surprised that it wasn't, totally accurate.
Yeah, so they reached out to him and they were like, "Hey, we want you to be Eddie Brock." I guess he's probably like, "Yeah." Also, he said, we talked about this recently, weren't we, Joe? He was just in a movie.
Tom Hardy too.
He was that's good. He was in a movie recently, like that had to deal with Nazis and stuff, and he said to make himself feel better and okay with that, he took the Hobbit trilogy and he edited it himself into just one movie. He's like, I had to do something kind of fun for me, so that's what I just would go home and just at night just like edit the movie down and be like, "Oh, we don't need this scene," and all that stuff. I was like, that's cool, dude. Like, good on you.
Yeah, he said that when he was rehearsing for that movie or reading the script, he would do it in his study or whatever. And through the double doors that he would shut, his wife would barge in and would say, "Would you shut up? Our child is in the kitchen."
Oh, for like the Nazi one?
Yeah, because of the things that he was saying.
Yeah, exactly,
and stuff
really bad, really messed up stuff. By the way, just for last point of comparison here, Spider-Man Homecoming, 117.2 million its first weekend. So kind of coming back with a vengeance there, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And some other kind of spin-off movies. Do you guys want to take any guesses? So obviously it performs better than and I wanted to mention this too. There have been other female-led spin-off superhero movies that have not done very well. Elektra made 12.8 million in its first weekend and made only 24.4 overall.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
not a good film.
Because who is Elektra really? I don't know.
Catwoman made 16.7. How did Catwoman do way more? Oh, anyway, I get it.
Halle Berry.
There's an older Supergirl film that only made 5.7 million. Now this one is interesting with the Wolverines. I wanted to talk about this for a second. Okay, so X-Men Origins Wolverine comes out with 85.1 million, so it does pretty well, like better than Venom for a spinoff. Then The Wolverine comes out with 53.1 because I think a lot of people didn't like Origins. And then Logan comes out with 88.4. So right around, it's kind of weird to see it be like it's crazy, right? Yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But
I'm
Deadpool,
impressed with Deadpool. What? That
132.4 million in the first weekend, and then 125.5 for Deadpool 2, which is pretty crazy. Sorry, Joe. Anyway,
was the Elektra from Daredevil was different than the Elektra from Elektra?
No. Elektra from that first Daredevil film was the same one. It was
Jennifer Garner?
Jennifer Garner. Yeah, she came back.
Who's Laura Ward then?
She might be the one. Is she the one in the actual TV show?
It just says she plays Elektra, but she must play her in some other kind of form.
Maybe in the TV show or something?
Oh, yeah, on the TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there was just something in the news. I forget where the heck I saw it. Might have even been like Snapchat or something, but paparazzi were taking photos of Jennifer Garner at Ben Affleck's house, picking him up and getting him out of his house. He was having alcohol delivered to his gate and stuff. And she got him in the car and was asking paparazzi, "This is really difficult. Can you please give us some space?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Snap. And you can see him in the back of the car as she's driving, and he's just like,
was he trying out to be freaking Tony Stark? Because I know Tony Stark's had alcohol issues in the past. Oh
dude.
My god!
And so she checked him into some Bel Air. What do you call them? Detox places or whatever.
This just happened? Oh no!
Oh, she stopped at a Mickey D's or something first to get him some cheeseburgers or something like that.
how, like, maybe the youngsters there wouldn't necessarily know who that is right away, but I swear if I, like, they came through and I was working at the fast food restaurant, I'd be like, oh wait, hold on a second, I've got some extra fries for you. I'd be like, just make them, I don't care. So how's it going, guys? I'd be like, what's all this here? Man, that's sad. I hope Ben figures that out, regardless if he's Batman or not. That sucks.
Yeah. How did I get on that topic? Oh, I don't know. I just
Elektra.
thought of it. We were on DC stuff too, and whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what else? So the whole Venom thing, I'm really happy to hear that it did well, good enough to easily greenlight a sequel, right?
Yeah, and it seems like the ratings are typically around like 30%, but that doesn't seem to really be stopping a lot of people who wanted to be there and were excited about this character. So what I'm thinking is it's going to be what I wanted to have happen. Marvel and Kevin Feige and everybody are going to see this. They're going to say, oh man, Disney's going to say, there's like a want there for Spider-Man and even his heroes, his villains, his rogues gallery. So we'll do whatever we can to just get them. Because if Marvel Studios made this,
let's get them in here.
Just do it. Disney, please. I beg you. Whatever you have to trade to Sony, just do it. Like, it'll be worth it. Trade Alien and Predator and all that crap. Just trade it. Like, it'll be worth it.
Crap.
I'm sorry, but they have so many bargaining chips after that Fox deal, which apparently is closing by the 1st of January, 2019. So Disney's got to be making a play. They see this. This is easy money. This is easy money. If Marvel Studios made it, holy crap. Forget about it. Forget about it. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, and you know what else is really interesting? And even if you were to maybe watch it going into the Venom movie, is there's a lot of stuff online about the whole origins of Venom or the symbiotes and the different types of them. They even kind of rank them power-wise and that sort of thing, even though it basically starts with Venom and then ranks up from there because offspring and whatnot. And then some of them all have their intricate singular powers. Oops, sorry. And and some of the cool ones like Toxin. There's one that like splits into multiple ones, and they actually splice them with like the military to fight Carnage.
Oh, cool.
It's really like they created a character or a species there that they could just take and like run with in every direction they want and not have to be tied down. It was interesting. There's a lot of info out there on them. And then the whole fact that Null is like the creator of them, born before the universe kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Made a sword out of his own shadow, yada, yada. Made the symbiotes and made his own symbiote armor, yada, yada. He slays a celestial, yada, yada.
I love it.
Oh, dude, it's badass.
I love that you know this. This is so cool.
Really cool.
I made a video a while back about like 5 villains you should know about kind of moving forward. And I do talk about Carnage, but we talk about Toxin for just like a hot second too. And I just reminded of all of that. And it's just like, you pick any villain from anywhere in the Marvel now and you could just, they're coming. Like they'll be on screen soon.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and something I find interesting about all that history is that it traces them back to something that's much bigger than just Venom beating up with Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
It makes the symbiote something worth putting on the big screen if you think about it.
Yeah, and I think you'd like the size of him too, Joe. I think he's a good mix of like what we both want because he's big, but he's not like hulking big, but he's a big guy. Like he's not someone you mess with. Like he stands up and you're like, oh my God, like it's pretty massive.
Yeah. And you know what's great is so this whole conversation we just had here, and I listened to your review, Jimmy. It was well done.
Oh, thank you.
But this conversation, I think, even with the spoilers, I don't think it necessarily ruined anything for me, but it kind of inspired confidence to be like, okay, yeah, I definitely got to see it.
I want you to see it and report back because I want you to be like, it was great, or be like, I see what you mean. You know?
Yeah, and I just hadn't had time to go see it, unfortunately. And here I am, the one who's like freaking getting all giddy over every time they show Venom in the trailer. There were certain parts of the trailers that really did kind of like, do I want? This might not be worth seeing, you know? And do I
was right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, do I want to drag Haley to this?
Yeah, take her. You guys would both get a kick out of it. It's really funny.
And this conversation just kind of spurred that confidence that, you know, she might enjoy herself as well with a few laughs, that sort of thing. So I think that's what you need for that extra little boost there. Yeah. All right. I droned on. I'm done.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, also be wary of this. There's like a 6-month time jump in this movie. It doesn't necessarily line up with everything else in there. Don't worry about it. It's weird. It's like, what? They put Eddie in like this sad bachelor pad apartment. So it's just like in like every movie when they break up, it's like, well, I don't make enough money, so I just gotta go live in a crappy place now. So yeah, but I don't know. It's not bad. I like Tom Hardy. I like him.
All I'm picturing is Tom Hardy talking the Venom hash browns. Yes, and chocolate.
Yeah, dude, yeah. Yep.
That's great.
Yep, it's good. Yeah, please just pull him in the MCU. I know I want the Spider-Man hatred, but I just if that doesn't happen, fine. We'll just move right into Sinister Six stuff with Spidey. Don't worry about it.
But like I said, there's enough there. The symbiote race.
Yeah.
There's enough there to insert them into this whole MCU overarching storyline that they have going. I mean, yeah, they're a big enough deal to do so.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time to move into that segment of the show I like to call, Levi likes to call, Joe likes to call, Venom likes to call Timekillers. You didn't think I'd do it, but I did it. I mean, Venom did it. I mean, we did
it. CG your face and do the whole...
They had a Snapchat filter that you could do that for like one day, and my sister sent me one. I tried to find it. It was too late. I was like, Joe, but you were gone.
Really?
I was going to send you one. So I was like, if I don't send one, Joe's going to send one to me. Yeah, Timekillers. The games we've been playing, movies we've been viewing, TV shows we've been watching. Levi, what have you been killing time with?
Okay. Streaming a lot.
Yeah, man, you've been streaming a ton.
Yeah, we finished Dark Souls 1. We're taking a little break from the Soul series right now. I need time to let my heart recover. Chrono Trigger for the DS. Rereading Harry Potter. I've actually been a busy boy. Watching My Hero Academia still. I'm pacing myself hard because that show is very addicting to just consume.
So hard.
I don't know. Yeah, getting ready for some Fallout 76 and some Red Dead 2 and Pocket Monsters. Yeah.
Perfect.
Red Dead 2. Call of Duty Black Ops is this weekend, isn't it? Is anyone interested?
I'm interested in watching it.
Really? You're not interested in the
I'm interested in seeing
Royale?
a tank. I'm just kidding.
I don't know, Battle Royale, man. I played some PUBG and some Fortnite, and I know this is different. I will say that this is probably way better on a technical level in every way. But
probably looks better if you ask me.
If you play it this weekend, Joe, I want you to let me know if it's something that like we should put it on the radar.
Sam, man, I mean, if Drew and I are in there battling it out and we're loving it, you might want to join us.
I know. Well, it's just
could make for a good time.
I turn to a monster sometimes with first-person shooters, as you know. Joe, what have you been killing time with besides being in Colorado?
Pretty much nothing.
That's
personal life stuff. So
yeah,
maybe Halo 5. Have we talked about that at all? I mean, you and I, Drew, we've all been playing that a little bit.
We were playing that while you're gone too, Joe. We were just like, Drew and I'd hop on some SWAT. Actually, Anna joined us for a couple of matches, and Anna and I did something, Joe, that you would probably enjoy. We played some doubles or some duos, and it was actually really fun. Like Anna's pretty good, and then she was like, Jimmy, you're pretty good too, and I was just like, I was getting really invested. I'm like, all right, you watch those stairs, I'll watch these stairs. Like, hey, they're coming up. Like, you know, the SWAT teaches you how to be good at that game. If you want to learn how to play Halo, play SWAT a lot.
Yep.
And be like, all right.
I loved SWAT with the pistol only.
Boom, boom.
Headshot done. And it makes you feel like a god. You're just like,
it feels nice. It feels good, yeah.
Halo's fun.
I'm really excited for Infinite. I hope there's more news coming out soon about Halo Infinite because I want to know what that game is.
But if you rewind just a little bit when we were talking about Call of Duty, Jimmy does not like first-person shooters all that much.
I like some, and I played a lot. You know that. I turned into a monster when I play first-person shooters, and I hate myself for it. Like Park Orders, I'm like, it doesn't even matter if we win. Like, what does it really mean if we win? Like, you know, like I think it's just so many hours of Overwatch. I was like, ugh. But if they made Overwatch 2, I'd be there day one. You know, I'd be like, all right.
Better.
Doing their big Halloween event, Joe. You should hop in on that.
Are they? Oh.
Yeah, tons of stuff. They got freaking Hammond, and he's in a big pumpkin, and he looks all creepy.
Oh yeah, you knew they'd do that.
Yeah.
That was you saying I should try it out. You'll watch.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of assumed. So Levi kind of talked about it, but we're actually working on a show right now discussing Chrono Trigger. So I've been playing some Chrono Trigger. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I did a review in progress on. You guys should definitely check out. I'm really enjoying it. If you liked Origins or were interested in that game at all, it's a lot like that. There's some more RPG elements to it. Some things I like, some things I don't like. But if you enjoyed Assassin's Creed or where it's going, it's more of that. And apparently it's selling very well. So I'm not the only one who thinks that. So I've been playing through that. Dragon Quest XI, it's been a little bit. And then I also watched a movie that was recommended to me by a friend called Inside Man. It's a movie that came back out in 2006, and a lot of people probably missed it, but it's about this bank robbery. And Clive Owen is the lead kind of guy in the heist, and who's going kind of butting heads with Denzel Washington. It's a Spike Lee movie, so there's some kind of weird stuff in it, like kind of, I don't know, it's just weird, but it's actually pretty good. I was surprised, but I give it like a 7 out of 10. I think that was like the rating people are giving it to, is like a 7 something. But yeah, if you like heist movies, give it a watch. All right, boys, it's time to move into my personal favorite segment of the show, community feedback and questions.
And questions. Okay, so this week.
Hold on, I have to answer one thing before you say that. We did have a community feedback responder, and I want to read it word for word because I don't want to give Ryan. I don't want to botch it. So I asked our Legionnaires who was their favorite anti-hero and why. And we have one from Ryan Lehman, our good friend. He said, well, I have to say Catwoman. Why? Because she's strong and messes with Batman, which I thought was pretty good. And then, our buddy Missile Mage, and I think it's Balthier, the main pirate guy from Final Fantasy 12, who isn't the main character. Anti-hero. There you go. Do you boys have favorite anti-heroes? Joe, Venom probably is yours, maybe?
Yeah, Venom for sure.
Yeah. Levi, do you have one that kind of toes that line?
Loki?
Yeah.
I'd
say Loki from time to time, for sure.
He's an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the question?
They gave him a good send-off. He was a kind of a good person in the end.
I always feel like to be an anti-hero, you have to be like a main villain for a bit, and then you kind of start doing good things begrudgingly. You're like, ugh, like fine, like
I'm trying to think, like Spike from Buffy. He was
dude, yeah,
an angel. They were evil, at some points, and then they turn around.
I guess for me, it's my boy Deathstroke. Freaking could just start swearing to the high heavens about Deathstroke.
He's really an anti-hero?
Yes, and the director of that movie said he would praise Joe Manganiello. Apparently, Joe Manganiello, there's nobody who's ever been as dedicated to learning a character, but that movie's just not happening. Ben, I'm blaming you, Ben. Ben,
I don't have anything wrong with. I mean, Deadpool's. I don't know. Deadpool's become its own monster, but I don't have anything wrong with Deadpool. I just don't really care about Deadpool.
Yeah, me neither.
He's an anti-hero, though.
Yeah,
he is an anti-hero, but he makes it too apparent that he is, and
that's why Deathstroke is the OG for Jimmy. I love him so much. I remember, oh man, I keep thinking back to that con that I went to. That guy all dressed up like him. Oh my gosh, I want that costume. Anyway,
can't be Venom though.
I
eat his head.
He's good. I'm saying he's good. That'd be a cool fight to see. Anyway, I digress. All right, questions. We have some good questions here. Levi, do you want to read off a question from our lovely Legionnaires? We have some from the Discord here.
Yes. Okay, so this week, Fregaden says, okay, at Critical Reviews, if you were given all the money you needed to make a video game, but the video game had to be of the horror genre, what kind of horror would it be? I'll start off. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of like Resident Evil jump scare. Those games give me anxiety to play, but I appreciate them for what they are, because I'm truly terrified to play them. I don't like being scared that much in a video game, especially because it just feels too real. I would take like that, and God, there was a demo on PlayStation that never came to fruition. You kept going around. Yeah, PT. So I would take those two and I would make that genre, but I would make that genre much more action orientated, and kind of bring it out of the, have to walk around really slowly and like turn like this and like super. I'd make it much more like fluid and I don't know, much more. What am I trying to say? Much more.
Like, I was like, have you seen The Evil Within? Kind of like Resident Evil 4, like where you kind of like there are scary things, but it's a lot of you like shooting things. Like,
yeah,
you need to die.
Yeah, kind of like that, but maybe even to like a better quality.
Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Who do you want to go next? You want me or Joe to go next? You're running this question. I like it.
Joe, you go.
You're not the boss of me, Jimmy.
Yeah.
No, I got one loaded up. Thank you, Levi.
You're not a field reporter, for God's sake.
Yeah. Major delay.
I want Joe to be like in the middle of a storm. Like,
yes, thank you, Levi. You go ahead. Yes, it is very wonderful out here.
The delay.
Yeah, that delay, and then they talk over each other. They're like, love it. So what I was thinking, and what inspired this is as I was watching Haley play Battlefield here across the living room. I'm like, this could be pretty cool. Battlefield 1, I feel like graphics are really good. It's a sexy looking game, the functionality, the controls, all that good stuff. And I'm like, how could I turn that into a horror genre game? Like,
microtransactions. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I had to do it.
That was good. No, you know what you do? You make all of the maps nighttime.
Okay.
You
get rid of those graphics.
Well, no. Okay. Stay with me here. So, oh crap, Evolve. We all liked that game to start, right? We thought it was really good.
Yeah.
It was the first game to really bring that concept of, okay, it's multiplayer, there's a team, and then there's one single person in this multiplayer match that plays the monster, but you're against each other, right? If you took Battlefield and made it that, only it's 32 players on one side that are humans with guns, 32 players on the other side that are some sort of, call them the iconic werewolf, vampire, that sort of thing, or some sort of monster or beast. And it's a nighttime map. Picture that desert map, only more buildings, like a desert city.
Sure, yeah.
And in and amongst the rubble, up the stairs, through the doors, on the roof. You're in the little cove next to the entry door to the stairs, and boom, monster jumps in, wham, gets you. Or you bust it in the face with a shotgun. It has a lot of tweaking to do, and you'd have to figure it all out and make sure it's balanced. But that's why it's the nighttime thing. It's kind of a more sneaky approach, and the monster gets like an upper hand if it actually like is able to quietly surprise or pounce you. But if gun, you get the jump on it, it's done. It could be cool. It could be really cool. Lots of jump scares. But it's also not AI. It's not too easy or predictable because it is multiplayer. But it's not just a first-person shooter. If you're playing the side that's the monster, you can have some fun with it. It's a little bit of a different vibe, a palate cleanser. You're not just shooting things with a gun all the time. I think it could be good.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I like that idea, man. I've always wanted them to do something like that, or even like vampires versus werewolves and like kind of like a big battle type thing, but be very kind of scary at the same time. Be like, I'm a scary thing, but they're scary things, and we're trying to kill each other because we're all scary. Like, that would be cool. So for me, I gave it some thought because I think this was directed, at me specifically because I'm a big scaredy. So here's my story. You start off the game, you get a phone call. Sitting in like an apartment or whatever, it might be the opening cinematic. You get this call, and they need you to clean up a mess. You're a fixer. You get on a helicopter and you fly out to an island. You land, and you see that there's blood all over and a bunch of footprints. And you see that this center has been kind of destroyed. There's like a kind of a little bit of a fire or whatever. You kind of go in to find out that what you're fixing you thought was only humans, but actually it was dinosaurs. Survival horror Jurassic Park, and you gotta kill them. Set number of dinosaurs, only a certain number of bullets and guns and stuff on the island. You gotta figure out, you gotta outsmart, because guess what? Those velociraptors, they find you early on, they're hunting you the entire time while you're trying to get away from it. Think of like Alien Isolation.
It's just Sim, Jimmy. Turok is already a game.
No,
and...
it's not Turok. It's not Turok. It's not Turok. Think about how scary and perfect that would be.
I thought it was a good idea, Jimmy.
Thank you. I think this could be so cool. Like, I would really want to take Jurassic Park and really bring it back to those moments in that first film that were legitimately terrifying. I am talking about Ellie Sattler going into that bunker by herself. So scary. Muldoon being out in the forest. Like, the T-Rex attack. Imagine that in first person. Like, man, really bring the horror.
I still have nightmares about the kitchen scene.
The kitchen scene.
A 27-year-old man, and I've seen it a million times, and that scene still frightens me to death.
Oh my god! Like, can you
scare the crap out
that?
of me too? I could barely watch the movie, even though it's one of my favorites.
It ruined ice cream for me because they're all eating ice cream. And then...
that like the Jello, and she's like shaking. Oh my god! But just think about like if you had to play that and you were all by yourself. There was no one else to talk to. Maybe kind of like Firewatch, so maybe you have someone over like the comms like talking to you, but like you had to go through and clean up this mess for InGen, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to fix this." Like it doesn't have to be canon. Screw canon. Just be in there by yourself, and they're like, "Hey, we sent you in with a few things, but
who the hell's canon?"
Oh no, like it doesn't have to be like canon to the story. Like they don't have to be like, oh, we have to follow it because the sequel did this and that. Just be like, nope, completely different. Like you have to go in and put down these animals and like either try to trank them, like which would be even harder to bring them back for more money and they might send you more like think like kind of Hunger Games where they send you better stuff if you do better. It's like they're like, all right, can you bring the animals back alive? But if you can't, all right, like setting traps, trying to do all this stuff, just trying to survive. Ugh, it'd be so good. Oh, please do it. Sorry, that's my answer. There you go. There's my fleshed out plot. I hope that's good enough. Sorry for egging in. I know it's Jurassic Park.
Turtle Pirate Games says, thank you for your submission to the next Turok sequel again. There will not be needing it. Actually, I don't know who made Turok, but anyway. Good answers, boys. Good answers. Okay, so Missile Mage, the one and only, says, what are some of your personal favorite acting performances, including voice acting? How much time we got? So, obviously, nothing ever will.
Oh.
And I'm 100% confident stating this. Nothing will ever top Lord of the Rings. Ever.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing will ever top the magic that is Lord of the Rings. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, what?
Is there a bad performance of anyone in those movies? I try to think about that seriously sometimes. I try to pick those movies apart and I'm like...
Even Treebeard is good.
Yeah, like...
So, no, because everybody brings... I don't even know. I don't know if it's like the planets aligned to bring all these genuine people together who cared about the source material, who really put in a fantastic performance. Yeah, nothing will ever hold a candle to it. Lord of the Rings, hands down. I don't care who you are, fight me. Voice acting, the best voice actor, I would have to say, to me, is the voice of Edward Elric.
Oh, yeah,
and,
he's great.
Yeah, from Full Metal Alchemist. And
yeah, Ed.
The reason why is because I believe that he embodies that character. And through Brotherhood, through the original, through the movies, you can feel the emotion in his voice so clearly in this character come out. And you legitimately cry when, spoilers, at the end of FMA. Twice. Like, you feel it and you know it's real and you know that he really believes in that character. And yeah, those are my choices.
Cool.
All right, James.
Yeah, I think I want to get more specific about Lord of the Rings. I think Ian McKellen is such a treasure. I think his performance as Gandalf the White is good, and it's kind of like.
Would you say he's a national treasure?
He is an international treasure. But I think his performance as Gandalf the Grey is so dynamic and is so earnest, but it is also so powerful, and it's so sweet and kind, and there's just so many facets to that character and that performance. And then you put that right up against Magneto, who I really can't state how amazing this guy is. And then there's also Sherlock Holmes, and he's a true thespian. Like, the guy is just, those performances are just, that will stick with me forever. I love them, and I love him so much. As far as voice acting is concerned, I think of one that I've fallen in love with more so recently.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah. I would say Chris Sabat or Sabat. He did the voice of Vegeta back in Dragon Ball Z, but more so recently playing the dual role of All Might on My Hero Academia, a guy who can be this big, I am here, but then he can also, he's just like a regular guy, just talking kind of normal. He brings so much to that role. A lot of the people in that show really do a good job with it. But for his voice acting, those ones come to mind immediately, along with like Yuri Lowenthal, who did the voice of the newest Spider-Man in the game. He also played Sasuke Uchiha back in Naruto.
Yes.
So another very wonderful voice actor.
Good.
Mm-hmm. So very good, so very talented to play those roles. Yeah, and a lot of those voice actors, they kind of say this too. They're like, yeah, we don't play like a lot of different voices that are so different than our normal voice, and you can just hear the different changes in pitch to their voice to play Sasuke versus Peter Parker. It's like nuts to me. But yeah, so those are some of my favorites. Anyway,
it's not that I don't like Deku's voice. It kind of bugged me for the first millisecond, but after getting used to it, like, it feels like that character.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was going to be too high at first, but I was like, no, this is good.
The guy who plays Bakugo, that guy like ruins his voice, but I love him. He's always screaming. I'm like, that guy is so good.
They've got some good voice actors for that.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, Joe, from coming at you live. What's going on, buddy?
Thank you, Levi. Things are looking pretty good over here.
You're definitely handsome enough to be like a weather reporter. Have you ever thought about changing careers?
Why, thank you. That was very kind of you. My favorite voice actor happens to be, because of his, what's the word? I don't know. Just downright, he's kind of unique to me. It always kind of struck me as just an interesting voice. But H. John Benjamin from Archer or Bob's Burgers.
Oh, okay.
And I more so prefer Archer. I don't really watch Bob's Burgers, but I just
never get into that show.
That Archer, the character, and then his voice behind it kind of really does it for me. I don't know why. I really enjoy the show. I think his voice is just, it's one of those voices that, like, you could listen to it a lot, regardless of what it's saying. I don't know why. I like it. And then we're the other part of the question was favorite actor.
Favorite acting performance. So it could be like Heath Ledger,
hands down, Jeff Daniels in Godless.
Oh, really? I didn't think I was going to pick that one.
What is Godless?
Netflix
It
Western.
was a Netflix miniseries Western. And shame on me, but I don't remember the name of the character.
I still have to finish that. If you don't watch that, please watch Newsroom. Everybody should watch Newsroom.
I'm going to look it up right now.
And Newsroom. Everybody watch Newsroom. He's so good. If the first 5 minutes of Newsroom don't get you, like, that show is like
Frank Griffin.
Oh, the guy from Newsroom. I like that guy.
Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And Speed.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he dies to a bomb. But you loved him in that show.
Oh, excellent. And then he's done nothing but great things. Dumb and Dumber. He's done Escanaba in the Moonlight. My Chevy took a shit. Oh, he's an actor of all actors.
You reminded me, Joe, of somebody that I forgot to mention just quickly. James Spader from Blacklist. He's like Jeff Daniels to me. I can listen to that guy talk about anything, and I'm just like, like, you're so good. Oh, and Kelsey Grammer. I've almost forgot Kelsey Grammer. Oh, God, they'll never do the Frasier continuation if I don't talk about Kelsey Grammer. Sorry, Joe. Continue.
No, nothing more to continue.
Okay, cool.
And back to you, Levi. Thank you.
We've created a monster.
Yep.
I almost just started singing that Eminem song. No, sorry. Okay.
Venom.
That's actually, it's a good song.
Venom.
What is your favorite scene from Jurassic Park franchise, and why is it the death of Peter Stormare from Lost World? Is that the dude that dies from the compies?
Yeah.
That's really dumb. Simon,
like it.
Not that you're dumb. Funny. I get you. Haha. But I just don't think that those little dudes could do that.
And I never really covered.
I forgot to say that this is from Simon. Simon says,
is this a death scene or just any scene from Jurassic Park?
what's your favorite scene from Jurassic Park? And I think we already talked about it. One of my favorite scenes is the
kitchen.
I mean, it's hard to pick one, huh? No, it's not my favorite. Well, it's the most like heart racing scene. I do like the water shaking in the Jeep.
Yeah,
that's pretty memorable.
You know how they did that?
Huh?
Do you know how they made that work?
How?
So Spielberg got the idea apparently one day when he was driving home. He was listening to music really loud and his rearview mirror was kind of shaking a little bit. So they tried to kind of redo that. But to get that to work, they basically put a guitar in the dashboard of the actual Ford Explorer and then would like pluck it so that way it had that perfect circle effect.
That's freaking awesome. Those movies are timeless.
Practical effects.
I'm sorry, that movie is timeless.
Yes.
The rest are garbage. Anyway, I was kidding. I can't really pick out one absolute favorite scene because there's just so many. But yeah, those are some of mine. I really do like the introduction. I like the introduction scene with the belly, the razor across the belly. That freaks me out as a kid.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the raptor, like the very beginning of that movie, which I think is the masterpiece. Like,
that's
like,
good. Yeah,
here's
that's
a great thing. You have no idea what's going on. Welcome to Jurassic Park, baby. It's like that guy just died.
Not to go off on a rant, but you could make another horror-esque Jurassic Park if you really tried.
Don't want to.
Anyway, some other honorable mentions, like the introduction to the dinosaurs for the first time, where he takes her head and like moves it, and she's like, "What the flip?" And I love that part. Cool. Yeah, I could go on. Joe, what are your favorite scenes?
I like when they introduce the T-Rex and it breaks out of the fence, or they show, or the goat leg falls on the top of the SUV.
I thought your favorite scene was the Velociraptor training or whatever. I thought that was your favorite.
What a good troll.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, Levi. Back to you.
Joe, I love that scene too because that T-Rex is trying to save those kids, which is really good. Yeah, that's what Lily told me anyway. You can watch the video here. That scene is amazing. Yeah,
because I like that they don't show it off right away. They drive past the paddock.
They drive past everything.
Goat out, and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing out there." Oh, and then it just happens to break down in front of the T-Rex paddock, and you're like, "Yes."
Behind the scenes on that, Steven Spielberg says that's the moment in the movie that he feels like it all kind of comes together because he's like, you have a T-Rex knocking over Ford Explorers, so you have the past meeting the present in this really cool, weird way. And like that moment where they say, we have no idea what these animals would do if they were brought into this world. And it's like, here it is. It's happening right here. Like, yeah, that's, man. And that chase away with the Jeep. Oh my God. Must go faster. Just, oh my God.
I didn't want the lawyer to die.
I did. He wanted to exploit those animals. He's darkness in his heart. Lily said it was okay. It was a mercy kill.
Okay.
Ooh. God, how do I pick a scene from that film that's my favorite? The whole thing is my favorite.
It is hard, yeah.
I even like the stupid scone where Nedry goes to meet that guy and he's like, don't get cheap on me, Dotson. Like, I love that.
That's probably the most boring scene.
As a kid, too, I never understood. I was like, did he just put whipped cream on that pie? It's like, no, he just put like shaving cream on something.
Yeah, I never knew that
pie. Like,
as a kid, I didn't understand it either, and I didn't necessarily always understand what Dotson was doing.
Yeah.
When I first started watching, I mean, God, the movie came out when I was 3?
Yeah, really young.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I have to say, kind of the first introduction with the Brachiosaurus is like straight up
great,
mother beeping, gosh darn freaking magic. Like, there is just nothing in cinema that like still like makes me want to cry, even though I know it looks fake as crap nowadays. I'm like, I know it's not there, but I love it so much.
The only problem is that the scale of the Brachiosaurus was so big. Like it was as big as like a skyscraper in New York.
No, it's not that big. It's seriously that like it's pretty accurate.
I just watched a video just recently, and it was like a paleontological expert watched scenes from dinosaur movies, and that was one of them. And he's like, yeah, that's actually very accurate. They looked like that. They could stand on two hind legs to get to the high trees. They had like air sacs in their necks, so they're actually lighter than they look. And he said, however, their scale's not quite right. That is quite large.
I don't know, man. Let's just say they were genetically engineered to be bigger. All right. That's
sure. Go back and watch it. It looks like Godzilla just walked across the prairie. You know?
Well, I don't know. Like, is it really that bad? I really don't think it's that. Like, Godzilla nowadays is like, you can't even.
He's a hefty boy.
No point. Yeah, he's a chunky boy. I love my big chunky Godzilla. The fatter, the better. I want him to be barely moving. I want him to be like,
I like Popeyes.
He's breathe really heavy.
Like, is he gonna attack us? Or like, no, he's resting. He's like, killing everybody just by his exhale. They're like, oh my god.
Stops to eat a donut at that shop that Stark was sitting in the donut. No,
oh, sure, yeah.
Bad joke.
I'm gonna say the Brachiosaurus thing is a forced perspective thing, Joe. Anyway,
sure,
yeah. But I like the scene. I forget too that they're in the tree. That it goes and says hi to him. I always forget that scene. I'm like, oh, this is a cute little like it's a Vegisaurus, Rex, Vegisaurus. Yeah, that's a can of worms. I think the whole thing is just I don't know how
the scene in the kitchen. Now that I'm an adult and I can actually live through that, the Velociraptor scene in the kitchen is pretty epic.
I'm telling you, the greatest shot in that whole thing maybe is just after that little bit, and they're up in the rafters, and like it's looking up to try and find them, and it's got all the genetic code like from a projector on its face. As the science nerd, it's like CATG. I was just like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like Spielberg, you did it. Like you could have just walked out there, and I would have been like, you know what?
Here's the thing: is Spielberg has been associated as like a producer for the most recent ones.
Yeah, kind of.
So I'm basically looking back on the originals and saying, "You got lucky, idiot."
Maybe. Well, that
he must have good people around him or something, because these new ones are like, bleh.
Oh yeah, and I don't know how much he might just like. A lot of people just get signed out as a producer. Like been a producer from like some of the Transformers films, so I can't really say that he's like had a huge hand.
I don't know what that necessarily means for him.
Plus, honestly, I'm gonna say this, and I said it before. Saving Private Ryan was really like his last incredible movie. The stuff he's come out with recently, especially Ready Player One, is it's like, what are you even doing? Like,
did you see Ready Player One?
I did, and it's not great. It's a CGI F fest. Like, it is ridiculous. It is. There's no time in that movie that I wasn't like, yeah, I'm watching a movie.
Was
like,
Master Chief in that movie?
Briefly, but they had more Tracer than Master Chief. They had some Spartans running at one point. It was like, how many Easter eggs can we put in
How is Tracer?
She barely says or does anything.
Was there anything cool about like the CGI at all?
My favorite any of the video game characters, was it cool or no?
None of them looked super good. Like they looked okay. I don't know.
The Greybeards from Skyrim are in there too, right?
Don't remember. I'm not a huge Skyrim fan. I'll be honest, I think my favorite part was the credits. Yeah, that was probably.
Was Pikachu in it too?
I don't remember, because there is literally like, if you gave me all the pop culture references and made it into a food form, and you made me eat all of it, and I vomited that up, that's this movie. Like,
oh
shit, like, that's all it is. It's just like, how much stuff can we throw in your face? And it's like
somehow Tracer's treading on top.
One of my friends from work says that it's a really good movie.
Well, that person's wrong.
Sorry, Katie.
The problem is, Katie, if you're watching, you're not wrong. You can like whatever you want. The problem is that fandom shouldn't be an exclusive thing. It should be an inclusive thing. And this movie's all about like, you're a noob and you don't know anything about the things I love. And it's like, that's not what this is about, guys. Everyone should be able to like these things, even if it's just a little bit. If you like Star Wars for just like lightsabers and that's the only reason, then you're a Star Wars fan. All right? That's fine. Like, you can like a thing just a little bit. But that movie, and man, it was just not, it's not great. I've heard the book's really good though. So if you like the book, whatever. Anyway, all right. Are those all the questions for this week, Levi?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
I think that about wraps it up, gents.
Perfect. Well, if you guys ever have a question for us, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag.
Thank you, Levi.
Perfect. This will be a good bit. I'm glad you're back. Hashtag Critical Podcast to any of us. You can tweet at the official Critical Reviews Twitter account, which is @GoCritical. That is capital G and a capital C. Or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you'd like to tweet at Levi, you could tweet at
Levi Fletcher. Levi like the jeans.
Excellent. And if you'd like to tweet at Joe, you can tweet at
@Lever_627. Back to you, Jimmy.
Lever just like Beaver, only with an L, but I feel like he's gonna make a joke like he's just hearing this now. But I know he's hearing it right now, so it's like
you're correct, Jimmy. Thank you.
He's actually got me believing that there's a lag.
I'm hearing it. It's really good. Yeah, well done. Levi was alluding to it earlier, but we are streaming over on twitch.tv/critical reviews all the time. Please stop and drop. Stop and drop. We're going to call it stropping. Strap on by if you want to stop and drop. It's like fire safety. But hang out with us over there. We're playing games. Levi, you said you're going through Souls, taking a break, doing some Mario Party, doing some other things, maybe some Final Fantasy 15. I've been playing some Assassin's Creed, the Dragon Age Origins, stuff like that. Yes, let's see. What else do we have to talk about here today?
Oh, Mario Party. Fun little game for the Switch.
Yeah, I want to come play it.
Yeah.
We might be getting a Switch here pretty shortly. Anyway, if you want to support us, consider checking us out over on Spreadshirt.com and getting some cool merchandise. Maybe some of you guys seen this. My sister, our community manager Katie, was rocking a cool new hoodie. So yeah, you should check that out to kind of see what it looks like. It's really nice quality and stuff too. So I'm really excited about it. Yes, I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Dale for our intro and outro music, and I want to thank the one, the only, the magnificent, the fantastic Mr. Joran Evers, the guy who does pretty much all the art here you see on the show. If you guys want to know what he's up to, well, here it is. When David opens a mysterious box that transforms his arm into an alien weapon, he at first uses it for good to right the wrongs of his high school. But as more of his body is transformed, he finds that playing God comes with its own set of new, self-destructive perils. It's like Venom. It's kind of like Venom. It's a comic that he's working on right now. And if you want to see any of that stuff, go check him out. @Niraj28 on Twitter, or go check out his Instagram. You'll love it. He's a fantastic artist. He's doing Inktober right now. So every day he's drawing like a new thing. It's really cool to see them. They get like a prompt, like one word, draw something out. I think the one he did recently I loved was called Precious. And it was like two gorillas that like had a little baby gorilla. And they were just like kind of fawning over it. But it's very stylized, very cartoony. It looks great. But if you want to support Joran and you want to support Joe and Levi and myself, all of us at the exact same time, consider donating to us over on patreon.com/critical reviews. Even $1 helps out, and you get your face drawn into our card game, which is really cool. But if you donate at the $100 level, we'll talk about you here every week. So if you have something you want to support or promote business-wise or just yourself, just read a little blurb each week. We'll talk about you, show your face, and kind of brag about you a bit because you're a commander in the Legion. So yeah, but if you can't do any of that, just share us around, share us on Facebook, share us on Twitter, do all that stuff. We appreciate it greatly. Boys, thank you guys for being on here today. A little bit of a longer show. Glad you're back, Joe, all the way from Colorado. I appreciate that you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. I'm happy to be back. Yeah.
I'm going to say something snarky.
They're going to be like, why was Joe removed from the podcast?
Okay, I'm kidding, but it is so much fun.
I'm glad. Are you going to see Venom this weekend, do you think?
I think I got it. Maybe Friday night or something. Hales and I'll go.
Okay.
I think we're going to go see it again, too. So
Yeah.
It's worth saying again, apparently. All right, I'm going.
Levi, yeah, thank you for being on and kind of helping me figure out my feelings on Venom. Because again, I didn't give it a perfect score by any means, and there are some
It's
issues.
definitely not a perfect movie by any means.
Yeah, but I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts. If you guys see Venom or have feelings about Venom and haven't seen it, please comment. I'd love to hear like what you guys think. And all
just
that
because we don't give a movie a perfect 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 does not mean we don't recommend you seeing it.
That's true. Also, every person's different. So like not every person would love this, but if you're like a diehard Venom fan, like you should definitely see it. Like,
or even if you just want a good night, just a fun flick to sit through, you know? Yeah.
Sure, a quick one.
Comedy will help you through anything, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You said that hit home, so that'll get her done for me.
Yep, it's a quick one. Yeah, well, and also remember, there's like, if you go to AMC, there's like a half-hour trailers beforehand, so you kind of factor that into. It's like a 2-hour movie. If you put that in there too, it's like, wow, this is turning into a whole thing.
I think Bumblebee looks good. Shut up. I enjoyed the trailer. I really did. I was like, this looks cute. It doesn't have all the bloated human shit, you know?
I like this. I think we should have one last thing that we say for each of us. So that was Levi's. Joe, do you have one last opinion you'd like to shout into the void? Because that's a good thing to do. Because we do the quarter yell, which every 25 episodes we just yell opinions.
Well, the weather is actually very nice here, Jimmy. The hurricane seems to have moved on to the west, and people are coming back down in through the highways to their homes. But yeah.
I heard the hurricane should not, ruin our plans at all. So
yeah, we're gonna miss that, which is good. I hope everyone, if anyone's listening to this who is over there, I hope you guys are all safe and sound and take precautions because this is gonna be pretty bad. So please. But Joe, do you have an opinion you'd like to yell into the void?
I wasn't making a bad joke, guys. I know there's a hurricane.
We just hedged our bets here because that's just how we do.
No, nothing.
I mean, I was gonna be this whole like.
No, I wasn't trying to drag out my act there.
He's already back, ladies and gentlemen, and we love him. Yeah, we kind of talked about it last time, but Joe, congratulations once again on your wedding and stuff. It was wonderful to be there. I really appreciate it. It was fun to hang out with you guys, and you looked dapper as all get out with those little ponytails and stuff. Yeah, I wish we could hang out in person more often, man. You're just fun to hang out with.
It's good. It's good.
I almost asked Joe and Haley at their wedding table, like at the reception, for a favor, even though it's technically like it would be like Haley's dad, who I'd like godfather talk to maybe or whatever. But I was gonna go ask for like a favor. I was like, they can't refuse me. But I didn't ask for anything, just for love. Anyway, thanks for everybody for listening up until this point. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, just remember to adapt and overcome. Bye.